Hello, I'm Clive Reid. I'm an EA coach and we run our own horse business here, training horses, coaching and competing. We've been asked to do a series of videos on Cavalletti's poles, which we're going to do. We're going to start today with some very simple exercises. We have some trot poles, which you'll see on the diagram. They're set at approximately 90 centimetres. We have a set of canter poles which are set at 2.7 metres. It's just a little bit short for the normal stride. And then we have two Cavalettis that are 19.8 metres apart. And that should be 5 strides for an average size horse. We know that the course designers work on horses having a 3.6 metre canter stride. Not all horses start with that, but that's what we have to try and train them to get to. Sometimes with a pony we might allow one extra stride if the horse has not got the size to do it. Okay, so these trot poles are set at 90 centimetres, one of my steps, and you'll see in the books that they'll put the trot poles 120, 130 sometimes, and anything in between. We're trying to keep them shorter to keep the horses balanced. Spooky horses might back off and we don't want to make it too difficult for them. There's no reason why you can't stretch these distances out a little bit as the horses get more comfortable with them. The canter poles we've got at 2.7 metres. The normal canter stride for jumping is 3.6, but again at 2.7 it allows for the horse to have a little bit of a spook and a look, and it's just slightly shorter distance for them. Of course, once the horses get confident about all of this, you can vary the trot poles out to a little wider, and the canter poles could go either a little shorter or a little longer. Trot and canter pole Cavaletti exercises, we can really get a good feel for what the speed should be when we jump. And we also need to train ourselves to be able to walk the distance confidently. I suggest that when you're setting up these exercises, you use our diagram and measure the distances, and then you can check your own walking. For example, most of the jumping poles that we have are 3.6 metres. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I can check that my walking is correct. So each of my steps is 90 centimetres long. In the Cavaletti exercise, which is 19.8, you should be making 22 steps. Normally, for 5 strides, it would be 24 steps if it were jumps, but because they're Cavalettis, we just keep it a little bit shorter than that to allow for the fact that the horse doesn't land out quite as far. This is Witchwood Silver Swift. He's a young Connemara stallion that we've had here for a couple of months when he came from the breakers. So it's been our job to get him going and start his jumping career. He's quite a nice little stallion, this one. He's quite forward thinking. They're very strong in the body, the Connemara horses. And he's not very spooky or anything. We started here just walking over that pole. Now we're going to trot and then probably have a little canter over it. I suggest if your horse is green that you do always walk them over these things a little bit first. You can see this guy's not too spooky at all. So we're going to go straight into the exercises that we set up. Okay, so this is the Cavaletti exercise for 5 strides for a bigger horse. So with this guy, he's a little bit smaller. We're going to just let him do the 6 down here, which is good. And then come back to the trot. This is for his mind, just to stay calm. Come back and do the trot poles nice and steady, very straight. And you can see here we've got a couple of stands. That helps us think about the straight. They're in a straight line after the poles. And then now he's going to come down here a little bit bolder and do the 5 strides. and that's very good. You can see all of the strides are the same length, nice and even, straight before, during and afterwards. That's pretty good for a horse 3 months out of the breakers. With him now, he did that so well. We're going to make it a little bit more complicated for him. Start him over the single pole down the end there in the canter, and then he's going to come to our canter poles here. These are set at a nice distance for a bigger horse, but they're, you know, perhaps a little short for a bigger horse, and for him, easy enough for him to make that up. Again, back to the trot. You can see the straight line is established well before the poles. He's made a little mistake going in there, that's okay. And now we're going to try and do 7 strides in the Cavalettis, which would be 5 for the bigger horse. So it's quite collected for a young horse. Okay, that was really quite good. And now we're just going to open him up again a little bit in the canter and do the 5 strides. So we want to see that again. It's all nice and even. The canter should be established well before you get there. It's no good getting over the first one and then chasing like crazy. Okay, and he's done that pretty easy. It's just, you can see a little bit of inconsistency with the contact when we start asking him to do the little things that are a little more complicated, but still a pretty good effort for him. This Harlequin, he's a horse that was broken in, young horse, and was in a paddock for about 3 years, and he's come to us as an 8-year-old, but he's still very green. Can be quite spooky. So here we're just showing you that we're going to let him feel very comfortable by walking through the exercises first. So now he's getting the idea. We'll do that once more. Very good, nice and relaxed. He's got the idea. So we'll go on into the canter now, and we'll come around, try the canter poles next. We can come all the way around the arena. Nicely over the single pole there. Just a nice steady canter in. You can see there he made a little bit of an error when he came to it. He can be a little bit of a spook. Hershey Girl is a 6-year-old by Contender that is currently competing at 105. Training a little bit higher than that. Said 6 years old, had her for about a year. It's quite a forward-thinking sort of a horse, which we like. Sometimes still a little inconsistent with the contact. Just been through the trot poles there, that was pretty good. Now coming through the canter poles. Does that quite easily. And we're going to go down over the Cavalettis. This horse a little bit more experienced. So we're going to start with the normal distance for her in here, which will be 5 strides. And as you can see there, she does that really very easily. Got a good length of stride, this mare. Very brave horse and wants to take it on. And then just as a little settler here again now, back to the trot. We'll do the trot poles. Just keep her nice and quiet. You see there, she was a little bit wanting to take that on, so we'll just do that again before we go on to the next cantering exercise. Nice and quietly here. Okay, not perfect. You can see there's still a little bit of tension there, but we'll work on that a bit more over the next few weeks, particularly giving her a canter over something and then coming back to the trot poles. You can see she's a very forward thinking sort of a horse. Again, we really like this. When jumps get a bit bigger, it's nice to have a horse that wants to take you down to the fence. So 6 strides this time, just to keep her a little bit settled. That was actually quite nice then. That was good. So that's a nice way for her to finish off there. And then just a little bit of a stretch. Okay, so this is Connor riding Combrio. Combrio's a 10-year-old warm blood gelding. He has jumped up to 1 metre 40 classes. So he's a pretty experienced horse. These exercises should be pretty simple for him. You can see there that he actually balances himself. The flying change came in the middle of the poles. And then he's pretty relaxed here through the trot poles. And Connor will come down over the canter poles. Being a more experienced horse, he should be able to do the 5 strides pretty easy. Yeah, that was pretty good. We'll make a change of lead here. That time the change came after the pole, which is good. Nice and straight, you'll notice. And then we're going to come back and try and do the Cavaletti exercise there in 6 strides. We know that it's normally 5. That should be the canter we use for jumping. You see Connor's collected the horse well before the first pole. 4, 5, 6, that's quite good, nice and straight. And then the flying change will come as he gets to the corner. So that's a pretty experienced horse. And finding those exercises pretty simple. So in conclusion, thanks for watching our video of the pole Cavaletti exercises. Tried to show you a cross-section of horses, both in their level of training, their size. We've even left a few of the mistakes in there because that happens to all of us. It's a very good way of training your feel for the required speed for jumping and being able to vary it. It also helps you train your eye to see a distance. If you've got any questions, any queries, you can get in contact with me via the Reed Equestrian Australia Facebook page or our website clivereed.com.